So in this video I'm going to go through 6 different things that you can do to help have a better relationship with your kids. And I thought about how to get to know your kids better, because I know I need to spend more time doing this. I am by no means an expert parent. A lot of this maybe you already know or have tried. I need to work on these myself, so that's half the reason I do these videos. I know that my kids behave a lot better when they feel okay. So if they're stressed or depressed or anything, like they start fighting and arguing and causing problems, and I just know it's time that we need to spend time with them, or just try to figure out why they're acting out of the ordinary if we can. And before I get to those 6 points, I'm going to say all the links are on the bottom to helpful things that I talk about, like questionnaires and things like that. Number 1 is questions to ask your kids. Some things like, oh, what's the funnest thing we did this week? Or when I'm having a hard time and I'm upset at you guys, what is something that I do that makes you really sad or something? Like, just try to keep some of it lighthearted and some of it serious to kind of gauge how things are going. And then there's fun things too. So the link to that blog has a bunch of things on like questions asked in the car, questions asked at dinner, things like that. So that's, I think, really helpful. And they also have those all about me. I guess a lot of schools do that at the beginning of the year. All about me cards, and sometimes I've noticed that kids really like to fill those out. So that could be a good way to get started doing that kind of thing. One thing that I really benefited me when I started homeschooling was figuring out how different people learn. And I realized, like, a lot even about my husband and how he learns, and then that helped me with figuring out how my kids learn, and there are different combinations of the both of us, and it just really helps even with day-to-day life to know how their brains work. There's a few links to those online questionnaires, and then you can go into more specifics once you figure that out if you're interested. Another thing I came across while learning about parenting and stuff is love languages for kids. Some kids need lots of hugs, some hate hugs, some like you to tell them, hey, that's a really awesome thing you did today, and some like you to bring them little surprises, and just, they're all different. So it's just really helpful to figure out the best way to have your kid feel appreciated and loved by kind of speaking their language. That is a book and audio book, and there's a website that I'll link the questionnaire to. There's one for you have to do the questionnaire for the 8 and up, because the younger kids, it won't give it to you, but they even have that for adults and stuff, teens. When we had this one pediatrician and we would have the kids checkups, we'd go and they'd send us home a sheet that had developmental stages on it, and it's the only doctor I've ever had that sent them to me, and it kind of really helped because I was having a hard time with some, like a 7-year-old stage is hard, and some other stage. Anyway, so reading that sheet, it said, well, at this age they are more independent and they want to make their own choices, or like a 2-year-old says they want to try things out for themselves. They're going to test you to see what they can get away with, what they can't, and all that information for the age of the kid's development is really helpful in kind of being more understanding when you're parenting, and also just knowing what to expect. Like, oh my goodness, what in the world is going on with them? well, you read the sheet and it says, well, this is the stage they're in, so how to help them through that, and just kind of changes your mindset on like not being reactive and kind of knowing, oh, this is what's going on. Oh, I'm rambling again. I just thought it was immensely helpful, and so I linked to one. I think it's like 10 years old, but I linked to one that I had found online for you if you want to look that up. Going along with the developmental stages, just learning how to relate to your kids. Sometimes I have to think, well, okay, what was it like to be 10? And just kind of understand their thinking and like kind of put yourself in their shoes for a minute, kind of a thing. And one book I found that was really helpful with that is How to Talk So Your Kids Will Listen, and How to Listen So Your Kids Will Talk. And I've got a brief summary of that. It's pretty easy to find book. Anyway, basically it's just like having like a consideration for your kids' emotions and not just saying, you're gonna do this because I said so. I like the communication and understanding between parents and kids, so that there's less frustration, and it also helps them to feel more heard and understood, maybe. I mean, it's a parenting discipline type book, but I guess, I mean, it does relate a lot to parent-child relationships. Also, that book, well, recently I'd heard a quote, and I saw it was, I can't find who it was from because there's quite a few places online that it is thinking, my kid is giving me a hard time, my kid is having a hard time. And when I heard that, like especially with toddlers and like young kids, I was really kind of blown away that I never heard that before. Because it's true, like you act like, oh man, this kid is like ruining my day. What are they trying to just like destroy everything or whatever is going on? And you gotta think, well, my kid's having a hard time. They're not giving me a hard time. They're extremely hungry and they can't handle the sugar crash, or somebody took their toy and you didn't see it and they think they're right because they are right, but you didn't know that. And just anyway, I mean, sometimes kids are stinkers, sometimes they're naughty, but then sometimes they just are a product of the environment and the situation and the now, and have big emotions and don't know what to do. So we're kind of like guiding them and teaching them how to handle all that stuff, which is really hard. But it's worth it to try. So okay, the last one, I know I've been talking a lot, is spending quality time with the kids. If anything, that cures all sometimes. Maybe some people might say it causes problems, but especially with big families, we find it really hard to spend time with the kids, especially individually. So I found a blog post that has a bunch of ideas, and lately we've been trying to take 1 or 2 kids with us to run errands, or like one of our daughters was having a really hard time, and I think she just felt overwhelmed and lost, and so we started having her go to one of our relatives' house to learn how to sew, just her, and she loved it, and I think it really helped her mind tremendously. And so, and she learned a new skill, and the lady that we had do it was just ecstatic about being able to teach her what she knows. So it worked out great for everyone. So just kind of thinking of ways to help your kids that maybe you can't do, but you could find out what what could help in a situation. So I hope that helps people. I don't want to sound pretentious or anything. I'm just kind of sharing what I think about and what we've tried and are doing and need to do. So if you have anything that I missed, put in the comments to help other people. Anyways, don't forget the links are down there. I hope you liked the video, and we will see you next Saturday.